Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, Bud Light, and by Sears.
Back on Capital One Tournament Central, Wichita State and Gonzaga coming up here next. Coach Greg Marshall talking to his Shockers before the game, going over their game plan for Gonzaga, and that game's coming up in just a few moments from Salt Lake City as Wichita State tries to knock off the #1 Zags, the 9 seed out of the Missouri Valley Conference, an at-large team from there. Went 12-6 in their conference season and beat your Pittsburgh Panthers in the round of 64. Yeah. So I'll turn to you first, Jamie. What kind of challenges do the Shockers present Gonzaga?
Well, our game wasn't an offensive shootout. They made 2 threes. We made 1.
3 of 37, I think.
Combined.
You
know, they defend. They're well coached. They play hard. They got seniors. They're an experienced team. I think they're a hard team to play against because they're going to keep it low scoring. And Gonzaga's probably not used to playing a team like this in the WCC. I mean, they're physical. They're big. One thing that's interesting when we play certain teams, when we go in the NCAA tournament, and we'll play teams from different conferences and BCS conferences, it seems like they may be listed at 6'5", they may be listed at 6'8". When we get up there and we play against them, they're not quite that big. This team was as big as they were advertised. Good size and strong, and again, they out physical us.
Coach, talk about Clee Anthony early, coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. He had slowed down his scoring in the tournaments. I kept watching. I watched the last 4 games, and he hadn't scored much, so I was trying to find out how he was getting his points because he was the leading scorer. But early in the year, he had games of 39, high double figures. So he can put the ball in the basket. Obviously, we left him open early. He made some shots, and he was the guy that I was surprised. I said, he must be an undersized guy, but he was 6'8", long, and can really shoot the ball, can put it on the floor. And again, older kid. They're an experienced team. They're good. They're well coached, and you know, I wish we would have played better, but they're a good team, and Gonzaga's going to have a tough game.
Smitty, we take a look at Kevin Pangos warming up. Anything we can learn from the struggles against Southern that Wichita State could apply to their game today against Gonzaga?
Well, I think Wichita State has to rebound the basketball. They have to make more than 2 threes. I think they're going to have to definitely be able to make some shots against Gonzaga. Gonzaga might have one of those games where now everything's clicking because they hadn't played in like 10 or 11 days before they played Southern.
This will be the best team that Gonzaga's played since New Year's Eve when they played at Oklahoma State. Wichita State is physical, they're tough, and they know how to play.
And it's next.
This is Capital One Tournament Central.
Are you satisfied? Okay, great win. Great win on Thursday. Now we're in the round of 32. Now we have an opportunity that no Shocker teams had in 50 years to play the #1 team in the country. Okay, are you satisfied with our stay in Salt Lake? Or do you want to go to LA?
And with that, the stage is set here in Salt Lake City. The Wichita State Shockers trying to continue in what has been a magic carpet ride, taking on the top dogs in the West, Mark Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. We take a look at the updated brackets in the West region. Gonzaga through that close scare here on Thursday over Southern, and now the winner of this one advances to the Sweet 16. Hi, everyone. So excited to be with you again courtside here in Salt Lake City. Spiro Diaz and Doug Gottlieb with you. Jamie Maggio will join us in just a couple of minutes. We know Southern gave Mark Few's team a little bit of a scare. They pulled through. How does Wichita State pull this upset?
They just have to be themselves. Junkyard dogs. They get after you defensively, get after you on the boards, and they want to push around this Gonzaga team who has a ton of skill, but do they have the grit, the determination to box out, rebound, and compete with Wichita State? The Shockers trying to shock the world.
Yes, they are, and the stage has been set. There is Greg Marshall. What a performance from him leading this men's basketball program, the 50-year-old South Carolina native, 2-time Coach of the Year in the Missouri Valley Conference, and has this team on the doorstep of their first ever trip to the Sweet 16. The starters from both teams, Malcolm Armstead, has about as much personality as any kid in this tournament. The star lead guard for the Shockers, who needs to have a big night tonight.
He retweeted me at like 12:30 in the middle of the night. I said, what are you doing up, man? I can't sleep. I'm excited. We got the Zags tomorrow.
There was Mark Few trying to get the Bulldogs back to the Sweet 16. 14 seasons in Spokane. What a career he has had. Second winningest Division I head coach behind only Roy Williams, with a winning percentage of nearly 800.
And the haberdashery, how about that tie? That is a big-time piece of neckwear.
All business. And here we go. This place packed to capacity. Gonzaga traveling so well, as they always do. Kelly Olynyk stepping into the circle. And it's Wichita State controlling. Ahime Oripe handles.
What
Wichita
a screen from Carl Hall.
Well, this is one of the more physical teams in the tournament. Wichita State 27-8. At-large bid out of the Missouri Valley Conference. An 18-point winner here over Jamie Dixon's Panthers on Thursday night.
They whooped the Panthers. Just whooped them.
Armstead inside to Takale Cotton. Oripe battles hard for it, and Gonzaga controls. For Wichita State, this is the first time in 50 years that they have taken on a #1 ranked team in the country. Elias Harris, the German national, spinning baseline. Harris struggled Thursday night against Southern, just 2 of 10 from the field, and the Shockers get it back.
And the key to the Shockers offense is Malcolm Armstead. He's senior. First he went to junior college, then he went to Oregon, and he transferred, paid his own way last year to play this year for Wichita State. He is dynamic with the basketball, late in shot clock off a ball screen.
Armstead has scored 25-plus points in each of the last 2 games. And 28 in the final of the Missouri Valley Conference Championship game. Shot clock under 10. This is Cotton. Here's Armstead against the Zags' best defender, Bell. Armstead can't hit. Cotton is there. And Cotton, Doug, had about as big a hand in that Thursday win as anyone else for Wichita State.
And look who he's guarding, Kevin Pangos.
Whistle blown, a traveling violation. Gonzaga turnover.
Takale Cotton, this is Malcolm Armstead's game. A little bit awkward. He said he was slow as a kid, so he had to develop a floater game. And Takale Cotton, not your average 2 guard. Undersized, power pack machine. Gonzaga going a little 1-2-2.
They trap Cotton on the near side. He finds Baker. Armstead. Errant pass. That's one that Armstead would like to have back. Wichita State gives it back.
The ultimate sign of respect when you're playing against Wichita State is Takale Cotton guarding. He is their lockdown defender. And as much as Kelly Olynyk gets the press and is a National Player of the Year candidate, it's Kevin Pangos who takes and makes the big shots for the Zags, as he did going back to Thursday night's late win over Southern.
Well, that's the passing that makes them so tough. Harris never had it cleanly. Pangos on a 3. Contact underneath, loose ball foul, charge to Hart. And Doug, you just alluded to it, but that could be the matchup of the night, with Pangos defended by Takale Cotton. And we sat with Takale yesterday and some of his teammates. He says he's been watching Pangos all year long, imagining what this moment could be like as they go toe-to-toe now on the national stage. Gonzaga had a shaky start here Thursday. Still looking for their first points. Baker dribbled it off the official's foot, gets it back. 15 to shoot. What a pass. Armstead to Oripe, backside, 4-0 start.
Gonzaga doubling essentially on ball screens. Doing a very good job. Those big guys will be open.
Ahime Oripe, the senior Nigerian national. Pangos' pass deflected by Armstead, and here come the Shockers. Second Zags turnover. Armstead on a runner, and he'll shoot 2. Well, here was the scene moments before the start of this game inside the Wichita State locker room.
Should be an interesting night for him. Malcolm, you've got Bell. You can't lose Pangos. Cannot lose him. Cannot lose him.
Well, that was it. It says it all. And Marshall and company talking and focusing on Pangos over the last 48 hours, trying to come up with the right defensive game plan against Gonzaga. Early substitution here. Cleanthony early, the junior, their leading scorer off the bench. Averages better than 14 points per game. Got 21 the other night in the win over the Panthers. Armstead misses the second. So 5-0 run for the Shockers to start. With just over 3 minutes gone by. Demetric Williams has also come in for Greg Marshall. Williams, the senior, Las Vegas native. Here's Pangos, the sophomore phenom. Olenek, National Player of the Year candidate. Boy, he had the hot hand in the second half. And Gonzaga with its first points.
And that is so much of it is set up by Kevin Pangos.
Ball had it stripped. Here comes Pangos. Williams back. What a finish by Pangos as he heads to the free throw line.
Kevin Pangos not only can play, what a competitor. Defensively, starts transition by getting a deflection. Mike Hart gives it back to him. Little Euro step off the glass and one. Woo.
Kevin told us yesterday as he was growing up in Toronto, his mother Patty was watching the tournament a couple of years back. Gonzaga started to make their perennial run. She became a Gonzaga fan, fell in love with the program. And here he is now just a couple of years later. One of the stars from Mark Few. Three-point play here. Ties it at 5. Armstead against Bell. .15 to shoot. There's Williams. Olenek defends him on a switch. Straightaway 3. Rebound fought for, taken by Hart.
But the belief in the quickness of Kelly Olenek by Mark Few. They're switching so many of those screens now.
Olenek going to the left hand. Hard to put back. Somehow misses the little chippy. And the officials say it will be Gonzaga basketball. Timeout early in Salt Lake.
Greg Gumbel in New York with an All-State Good Hands update over on CBS in Lexington. Butler on a 12-6 run keyed by Rodney Clark. He's got a game-high 16. Butler leading Marquette 33-27 coming up on 2 minutes to play in the first half. Spiro and Doug.
All right, Greg, thanks. So Butler and Marquette, the winner advances to take on the winner between Illinois and Miami. And Butler, of course, just one of 2 teams that has beaten Gonzaga this year, and they were the last to do it 9 weeks ago today. 63 days since this Gonzaga team has lost.
And it was a little bit of a fluky loss. They had the game essentially won, couldn't inbound the ball.
Carl Hall to steal, no one back for the Bulldogs. Skying in for the deuce, and Wichita State back in front. Offensive foul. It's on Sam Dower. Well, you heard the incredible story of Carl Hall the other night. Here he is with the steal.
Active hands in the ball screen. Gary Bell playing with the basketball too much. That's the same Carl Hall, just sans dreadlocks.
Shaved off his trademark locks before the tournament. Anthony early with a 3. 5 straight points.
When he hits three-point jump shots, it energizes him. Now, if he can score inside that three-point line, suddenly he becomes a completely different guard.
He was 0 for 6 from beyond the arc Thursday night.
Well, that's not going to stop him now.
Olenek. Offensive rebound Hart. Pangos for 3. So Gonzaga again, ragged offensive start similar to what we saw Thursday. They're 2 of 9.
Taking a lot of jump shots.
Well, for people that haven't seen this Wichita State team, they play with a confidence and a swagger. There's Hall on a face-up early, the rebound, swatted by Dower. Gonzaga controls with heart as we come up on 14 minutes left before halftime.
Great reaction from Sam Dower. Only played 7 minutes the other night. Early foul called on him. Doesn't sulk. Gets a big shot block and an extra possession for Gonzaga.
Still plenty of time to shoot, 14 seconds. Pangos turns the corner. Olynyk the offensive rebound. 3-point game. Olynyk with 4.
He's just so big. And the hair might look like one of the Hanson brothers from Slapshot days.
Well, we found out yesterday, as we sat down with Kelly, he's a soccer guy. He was going for the Sergio Ramos look, the Spanish national, one of the top soccer players in the world.
He said his roommates are 5'8" and 5'7", and they really got him into watching soccer.
Here's Dower, early on his back. Early holding steady. Bell for the 3. Wichita State unable to protect the defensive glass.
Right, this is not Wichita State basketball. They are a dominant rebounding team in the Missouri Valley.
This is Bell poked away. 6 offensive rebounds so far for Gonzaga. Still plenty of time to shoot. 16 seconds.
On the other hand, they will grind you. Watch for the ball screen and what's called a pocket pass back to the big fella.
Pangos. Hart. Get it. Well, Kevin Pangos and some of his teammates telling us yesterday, sometimes they have to push Mike Hart to shoot. He's so unselfish with it. 5 straight for the Zags, and we are all tied at 10. Well, look now at the Infinity Coaches Spotlight. There is Mark Few. What a career it's been for the 50-year-old Oregon native.
What he has done in Spokane is magnificent. He took over for Dan Munson. Munson left and went to Minnesota for 7 years. And the program, after making Elite 8 in '99, hasn't been back to the Elite 8, but they've been in the tournament every year. And they have been a dominant program in the WCC. Essentially, the Boise State football of college basketball.
They've never been to the Elite 8 since Few took over. That '99 run that Doug pointed out, of course, under Dan Monson. Few was an assistant on that staff. Gonzaga has been to the Sweet 16 4 times since Few took over. A win tonight will get them there here in 2013. Pangos.
Another offensive rebound. That's 7.
Here's David Stockton. Back in his dad's old stomping grounds. His father, John, a Hall of Famer here with the Utah Jazz. In attendance again, knocked out of bounds off of the Zags. And that the 5th Gonzaga turnover. There is Stockton in the seats here. Stoically looking on. So 12 minutes to play exactly, first half. Gonzaga, longest active winning streak in the country, 15 straight. #1 seed in the West. Battling Wichita State. The Shockers looking for their first ever trip to the Sweet 16. Spiro Ditas, Doug Gottlieb, Jamie Maggio, our entire crew here from Salt Lake City. Shockers have missed 4 straight shots. Fred Van Fleet, the freshman, has come in. This is Baker. Also Jake White, the man with the basketball. Traveling violation. Well, both teams clearly still feeling each other out. All tied at 10 with under 12 left. All tied at 10, Gonzaga, Wichita State. Celebrate 75 years of March Madness by voting for your all-time players, teams, and moments of the NCAA tournament. Vote right now at ncaa.com/March Madness. We check in with the 3rd member of our team, Jamie Maggio. Jamie?
Thank you, Spiro. When I spoke to Mark Few on Thursday at halftime, he could barely talk. He says he's been battling a pretty bad cough for about 3 weeks now. He was having a hard time communicating with his team in the huddle. So what did he do? He enlisted the help of someone who knows the area here in Salt Lake City pretty well. John Stockton sent him to a homeopathic doctor that he used to see when he played for the Jazz, and Coach Few told me, I'm not so sure I believe in all the homeopathic stuff, but so far, it's working.
So he did a little Mr. Miyagi on his neck, and all of a sudden it opened up his vocal cords. He could talk again.
Could be a broadcaster's best friend. Here's Olynyk trying to go high-low with Elias Harris. Gonzaga getting the high percentage looks that they want. And Elias Harris to the line.
You mentioned high-low. It's so hard to defend this because Kelly Olynyk, you have to respect his ability to shoot. He's tall enough to look over, and Harris holding position. Old school classic basketball still works, especially when you got a big guy that can shoot it from three.
Here is Harris, tournament MVP in the West Coast Conference tournament last week. The senior trying to go out with a bang. Had that exceptional freshman year. There was questions of whether or not he would come out. Made a decision that has paid huge dividends for him. Elected to come back. Kind of slumped a little bit as a sophomore. But sitting down with him yesterday, said it was the best decision, Doug, that he ever made. He's matured, a more well-rounded kid. And you don't often hear a 21, 22-year-old kid say, I was a bad listener. I thought I had all the answers. And here he is now 3 years later, trying to get the Zags to the Sweet 16. Offensive rebound, Armstead, and he buries the three. Malcolm Armstead. So much moxie in that young man. The senior Alabama native puts Wichita State back in front. Olynyk. Stripped by Armstead. And another Gonzaga turnover, their sixth. Early. Not bashful. Second three of the game.
A little jab step, creates space, rise, and fire.
Wichita State taking control again. One of the top defensive teams that so many casual fans haven't seen so far.
Malcolm Armstead, that's called a dig. Goes in there, digs it out, then creating a shot. Penetrate, kick, paint touch. Jab step.
Wichita State trying to get back to the Sweet 16. Of course, that memorable run in 2006, losing to the Cinderella team coached by Jim Larinaga and George Mason. Made it all the way to Washington, D.C. They can get there with a win here in Salt Lake.
It's a little thing, but both teams so well coached on underneath, out-of-bounds defense. Malcolm Armstead just saved a layup.
Pangos. Again, Gonzaga getting good looks. They just can't hit. They're 4 for 15 and 1 of 7 from downtown. Pick and roll play. Hall, the recipient from Cotton. Mark Few calls for time. 8 straight for the Shockers.
Oh, Shockers ready to play. A little pick and slip. Weak Shockers up 6 early.
Here's how we're going to start. Takeo, you've got Pango. Should be an interesting night for him.
Well, that was the key matchup that we have focused on right from the start. Pangos against Cotton. And so far, Pangos has had a rough time.
How perfect was Greg Marshall? It's going to be an interesting night for him. Kevin Pangos is a tough competitor. And so is Takeo Cotton. He has been salivating the thought of taking on the Zag superstar.
Here's David Stockton. He'll handle the point. The backup who has become such an integral part of Mark Few's attack. We move on to 10 minutes to play before halftime, and the Zags, the #1 seed in the West, down 6. Red Van Fleet, the freshman, defending Stockton. 11 to shoot. Bell bottled up by Armstead. And Armstead now starting to play with that swagger.
You see what he said? He said, I didn't say anything. He's super tough, that JYD mentality. Super tough, but super smart. He's not getting a little pushing match. He's saying, I'm still here.
Shot clock resets. JYD, of course, junkyard dog. Armstead, all kinds of attitude. Here's Olynyk.
RIP for JYD.
Stockton inside to Olynyk, towering over the defense.
What a play.
Mike Hart keeping it alive, and the shot clock resets. Harris poked away cleanly by Cotton. 7 Gonzaga turnovers. Here's Early, the hot hand, picking up where he left off Thursday against the Panthers.
Ask all the boys in the Missouri Valley. Don't let Cleanthony Early get it going early, because he'll play above his level.
10 straight points for Wichita State. Olynyk. The Shockers dictating the pace.
And that was Kelly Olynyk, pre-red shirt last year. Too many jump shots.
Offensive foul on Mike Hart. Again, not scoring big numbers, but such an impact. A guy that his team calls the heart and soul of this Gonzaga team.
Well, he just got a tip out for an extra possession. Now in position, easy call. Yeah, they encourage him. You know, he never shoots, averages 1.9 points a game, and people stop guarding him. He hit a 3 early in the game. Remember the St. Mary's game when they won on the road, essentially clinching any hope. The WCC title off for the Gales. They dared him to score, and he did.
Hart, an incredible story, a former walk-on. He was originally supposed to go to Oregon for academics, decided to change his mind, won a spot. West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year. Baker thought about it, caught in a deep 3, got it! 13 straight points.
How good was that? Ron Baker, that is a pump fake, one dribble, create a shot for a teammate.
At this end of the floor, Gonzaga has missed 6 of its last 7 shots. Olynyk, pick and roll, trying to cock it back and dunk. How about that challenge at the summit? Orupe stepping in.
Well, when Ron Baker was a kid, he used to cut wheat. Now he's helping get cotton open.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Chevrolet, John Deere, and by AT&T.
Here in Salt Lake City, Wichita State, how about this score? 23-12, 13 unanswered points, as they have Gonzaga, the #1 seed in the West, staggered at the moment.
And they got Kelly Olynyk shooting jump shots, and Kevin Pangos rattled a little bit. Zags got popped in the mouth by Wichita State's aggressive defense.
And I did misspeak earlier. Of course, Wichita State has been to the Sweet 16, that incredible 06 run under Mark Turgeon. Some great wins in that stretch. Of course, beating Seton Hall. They beat Tennessee in the second round. But what a win this would be. And you know, the other interesting, ironic part about this whole thing, they're trying to follow the standard set by what Mark Few has done at Gonzaga. Such a respect factor in talking to Greg Marshall and his players yesterday. There is Marshall pacing the sidelines. A reminder to keep an eye on the top of your screen. Oregon has just defeated St. Louis. Unbelievable. Lopsided win as the 4 seed goes down. Armstead nearly lost it. Next up for Oregon will be Louisville. There is Baker. 6 straight makes by the Shockers.
They won by 20 the other night, couldn't buy a bucket.
16 straight points. And right now, Gonzaga appears shell-shocked.
And you go back to Thursday, and they were in a close, hard-fought game, had a lead at the half, and Greg Marshall, they were 1 of 14 from 3, and Greg Marshall said, I like all those shots. I want you to make some of them. They didn't hardly make it in the second half, still won by 20. Now they're starting to make them. And Luke Gonzaga missing shots they normally make. Zag's a bit rattled.
You know, the other interesting part is that, you know, we touched on the fact that they haven't lost, Doug, since January 19th, 9 weeks, and they haven't played many close games. So this uncharted territory, and of course, were challenged on Thursday night and responded well. Olynyk took the game over in the second half, but this a different kind of challenge in Wichita State. Baker trying to find Arupe. Arupe surrounded.
They ran a nice little ISO, took out the weak side help, but Arupe keeps bringing the ball down. He's got to go up and finish quickly.
Gonzaga, no field goals in nearly 7 minutes. They coughed it up again. Early. Offensive foul. The Zags get it back.
That's a terrible call. A terrible call. Early with a Euro step, the exact same play as Kevin Pangos early in the game. That's a bad call. Not close. Early steps around. That's not a charge. Bad call.
So Early with a tough break, he'll be replaced. 12-point lead for the Shockers. With 6:20 to play in his first half. Gonzaga, if you've just joined us, just 4 for 18 shooting. A 22% clip. You see the run. Everything Olynyk has had, it may be close in terms of distance to the rim, but everything has been challenged.
Arupe is a big boy, and they're coming to dig that basketball out.
Second in the Missouri Valley Conference in blocks is Arupe. Under 6 to play before halftime.
This is Pangos time. This is when he likes to excel.
Here comes Bell. Offensive rebound, Harris. Knocked out of bounds. Greg Marshall pleading with the officials, but Gonzaga retains 34 to shoot.
The only thing keeping Gonzaga in this game is the offensive rebounding.
Go follow tournament scores, stats, and news live on the CBS Sports app. Get it free by texting SCORE to 42777 or by visiting cbssports.com/mobile from your mobile or tablet. We're in Salt Lake City. Spiriditas Gottlieb, Jamie Maggio. Gonzaga, the #1 seed in the West. Down 12 points. And finally, the drought ends with a Pangos triple. First bucket since the 12:52 mark of the half.
Pangos time. Kevin Pangos is not as widely regarded as Kelly Olynyk is, but he is the key to this team. He has a ton of lower intestinal fortitude, let's say. Little handoff, and Malcolm Armstead gets caught. You can't go under. Splash.
Officials walking over to the replay monitor to see whether an elbow from Arupe should be assessed a flagrant here.
Now, you watch Elise Harris. This is actually a moving screen. That wasn't called. Arupe boxing out. Oh, yeah,
boy,
it's a flagrant.
is right
now that one
to the face.
Flagrant foul.
Well, that different in that Arupe's looking right at Olynyk. Dangerous play.
Can't see from that angle. But in the other angle, you could see that Arupe is 21 in the black jersey.
You see right after the release, goes to try to find him to box out.
Yeah. Now, you're trying to put your forearm in his chest, but if you just, I mean, it's an elbow that hits him right in the face. Pretty easy call. And a bit of a sell job by Kelly Olynyk.
Doug, as we await the call here, how surprised are you at what we've seen so far?
Very. Very. But when you stop and kind of take a breath and think of styles that have given Gonzaga difficulty, Butler muscled up to him. You go back last year, they lost to Ohio State in a great tournament game. This one seems pretty easy to me. I don't traditionally like the rule, but this is why the rule is in place. An elbow to the face. But you look back to last year and some of the struggles against the Big Ten. Big Ten, a very physical conference. Gonzaga has a reputation as a very skilled offensive team, but a team that you can body, a team that you can out-tough.
Officials with a lengthy review here. They have ceased looking at the replay monitor. Now they're just talking it over with the score people.
See, now there's a difference between flagrant 1 and flagrant 2. I believe this should be a 1. Look, he absolutely elbowed him. It should be 2 free throws. Here's the difference in the 2. Is it excessive, severe, or extreme contact with the opponent? I think no. I think it should be 1.
It is a flagrant 1. In charge to Ahime Arupe, the 7-foot senior from Nigeria.
Think of how big that charge call was.
It's a great point.
You're up 26-14, and I believe that was a botched call.
Another look at the Arupe elbow a moment ago. Here's Olynyk at the free throw line.
And they react. Kevin Pangos hits a 3. Now they get 2 free throws, and they get the basketball. We're talking about the chance for an 8-point trip possible.
Arupe will sit. Olynyk, a very good free throw shooter.
This is the intent of the rule. Elbow above the shoulders. Good call.
Mark Few has made a change, trying to find a spark here. Drew Barham has come in. Barham, the junior, Memphis native. There's a corner 3 and a rebound by White. Wichita State up as many as 13 points. White for the 3, and he hits it. Jake White, just 2 made threes before that shot.
Yeah, but he's a face-up 4. That's what he was brought into the game for. Create space for Armstead, create space for Carl Hall.
White, the sophomore, Minnesota native. Pangos against Cotton, turns the corner. 11 to shoot. Harris. He got it. Harris, who has been awfully quiet offensively through the tournament so far, with 5 points. Van Fleet setting the table for Armstead. Cotton can't keep it in, and Gonzaga gets it back.
And Harris, another. I see your stretch 4, and I match it. Harris. Bang. It's so hard to defend ball screens, pick and roll action, if you will, when on the opposite side of the floor you have, at least Harris, who's stretching the floor, and you have to respect him out to 21 feet.
Gary Bell defended by Van Fleet. And you saw Harris screaming for it. Dower couldn't find him. Shot clock at 13 seconds.
Pangos time.
Kevin Pangos, the orchestrator. Sophomore player. Dower. Harris. Drawing contact. Wichita State, such a sure-handed rebounding team, being decimated on the defensive glass. Wichita State up as many as 13 points right now, up 7 with under 4 minutes left before halftime. Fans watch live games on your computer, iPhone, iPad, and select Android devices with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch right now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. Here in Salt Lake City, Gonzaga, #1 in the West, trying to get back to the Sweet 16. But they have their hands full against this Wichita State program that has been so determined. 18-point winner over Pitt Thursday. And throwing the first uppercut in this one here. Harris, the senior, hits 2. And Wichita State's lead down to 5. Told you about the strong contingent of fans that have made the trip here from Spokane, all standing behind the Gonzaga bench. It's an 11-3 run for the Bulldogs. This is Fred VanVleet, only a freshman, squares up with a three. Offensive rebound, Baker, and he sticks it back. Baker, the redshirt freshman from Scott City, Kansas, about a 4-hour drive from Wichita. Told us about his hometown yesterday. 2 stoplights, population 2,800. With that young man on the biggest stage tonight. Harris, gorgeous finish. 9 points for Harris.
Wichita State's got to figure out that pick and roll game. Their rotations are all screwed up because of the skill of the Zags.
VanVleet, got it! 3-pointer. It's an 8-point Shockers lead.
How about VanVleet? Misses one, not scared, takes another one.
Olynyk swallowed up by the defense, and he is fouled. Olynyk to the free throw line with 2:17 left in the half. And coming up, AT&T at the half will get you to our studios, caught up on all the latest tournament news, highlights, and updates. All coming up on AT&T at the half.
Kelly Olynyk, one of 27 players over the last decade that have redshirted at Gonzaga. And he did it really because he wasn't going to get the minutes with Robert Sacre there last year. And the process by which the Zag staff had him work through was, we need you down that low block. He came in as a perimeter jump shooter, wanted to be a face-up 4-man. His size and his dexterity make millions and millions of dollars if you can score in that paint area. Boy, has he improved.
Just imagine how deep this Gonzaga team was last year. For them to redshirt Olynyk because they simply had too many bigs. And here he is a year later, a candidate for National Player of the Year.
And they still have Karnowski we haven't seen, who would start for anybody in their league and most teams in the Pac-12. We've only seen Sam Dower a little bit, who's a definite starter in most leagues in the country.
White off the screen. That's a shot that the Zags will give him. What a play by Baker to keep it in. Shot clock did not reset. VanVleet. Textbook head fake, but too strong, cleared by Hart.
Come out fired, huh?
Bengals can't turn the corner. C.J. LaFille has come in, wearing 0 and an offensive foul on Olynyk.
Olynyk and Pangos, really tough cover on the handoff, re-screen, but you just can't move. And he keeps moving and rolling, sticking out that right leg.
And defending that Gonzaga pick and roll, such a tough thing for an opposing defense. Wichita State has done very well so far.
So a decent job. Now,
offensive foul will give it back to the Bulldogs. Off the ball.
And that's just a dumb play.
It's on LaFille.
Yeah, LaFille just kind of, that's easy to call. Cost your team a possession. You come in, you get a possession on a moving screen, don't cost us a possession. We got to get a shot up every time down the floor.
Greg Marshall talked about this being a transition year going into the season.
They lose their top 4 scorers from last season. And here they are playing head up with Gonzaga.
At one point, 3 starters were out to injuries. Olynyk goes back to a nice find by Hart. And Wichita State's lead down to 5.
A little Eddie Sutton cowboy action.
Greg Marshall wants a timeout. Well, you certainly expected Gonzaga to punch back, and they have right here.
This is called cowboy. A little pick, slip. Mike Hart with a dime. Kelly Olynyk. Zags down 5.
You'll see real stories of human achievement featured on the Buick Human Highlight Reel at ncaa.com/Buick. The It's the closest Gonzaga has been since the 10:25 mark of the first half when they were down 4.
And, you know, Cleanthony early got a charge, and they had complete control of the game. That was also his second personal foul. Greg Marshall has not put him back in the game. I don't like that because it's hurt their momentum. Let's see if they can survive with the lead into halftime.
Gonzaga trying to get to the Sweet 16 for the 5th time in the Mark Few era. Wichita State has been there 3 times. A win tonight will get them there. 7 to shoot. Armstead. Rebound Harris with 40 seconds left in the half. 7-second difference, shot to game clock. Baker defending Pangos. 15 to shoot. Here's Olynyk, guarded by LaFleur, hitting the fadeaway shot.
Good luck guarding that. Ball screen, re-screen, get a touch into the paint, throw it back out in the fadeaway. Wow.
Shot clock off 3 seconds. Van Fleet. The tip up and in by Jake White. Miraculous play. Just flailed at it with his right hand. And Wichita State, as they will look at the replay, trying to salvage the final deuce.
What a play from Jake White. Came in, hit a big 3, and then gets a tip in. Wichita State really struggling with some foul trouble, and with Kelly Olynyk in the low post, well, that is a saver for momentum. They get a 5-point lead going into the break.
Wichita State led for nearly the entire first half, trailed by only 2 early. They absorbed that Gonzaga run, and that basket will stand. So a 5-point lead for Wichita State here at halftime. We check in now with Jamie Maggio.
Thank you, Spiro. Coach, Gonzaga's controlling the offensive boards 11-5. How do you do a better job on the glass?
Well, they're pushing us under. A lot of the shots were long shots. We got to do a better job of going and find our checkouts because long shots create long rebounds. I thought we were in great shape until they started shooting free throws every time. The flagrant one was no help. And I got 2 of my best players on the sideline the last 6 or 7 minutes.
A big part of their game is pounding the paint. How are you keeping them from doing that and forcing them to take jump shots?
If we can hold them to 31 again in the second half, I like our chances. They've got to defend us too.
All right, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Greg Marshall determined to get this team back to the Sweet 16, up by 5 at halftime. A reminder over on CBS, Butler and Marquette battling in the second half here. 5-point lead for the Shockers at halftime. AT&T at the half is next.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T. Rethink possible.
All right. Hello, everybody. Ernie Johnson. Welcome back to our New York studios and AT&T at the half. After 20 minutes of play in Salt Lake City, Wichita State leading Gonzaga 36-31. Greg Anthony, Kenny the Jet Smith, Charles Barkley here at the set. Well, I tell you, Wichita State trying to shock the world in addition to Gonzaga, and they've had it in the first half. Had a big lead for a while until the Zags came back at them a little bit.
They did. Listen, they've been able defensively to take away Pangos and Bell. Olynyk's had some success, and they've been able to get to the free throw line, but the real difference maker has been the three-point shot. Wichita State's knocked down 7 in this first half, and that's really allowed for them to have some separation, and they just feel comfortable defensively in terms of guarding Gonzaga. They've kept them out of transition and had a really solid first half.
Chuck, you thought Gonzaga would play much better in Game 2 after maybe some nerves or something in Game 1 when they struggled. What did you make of what you saw in the first 20?
They don't put fear in your heart. They got a terrific team. There's certain teams you're like, oh, we don't want to play that team. Gonzaga got a very good team. Kenny touched on it a little bit in the pregame, talking about you worry about their guard speed, top to bottom, top end speed. But Olynyk has to play well. Pangos has to play well. But right now they're struggling just a little bit. I still think they will win this game. But they're not a flawed team. They're just not a perfect team.
Olynyk has 13 on 4 of 11. What'd you think, Jet?
There's only one way I think Gonzaga's going to win this game is
offensive rebounds. If Olynyk and Harris hit the offensive glass, that's going to separate them, because that's the only advantage they have is the size advantage inside. And particularly they get moved off the block, Olynyk and Harris, so they don't really make their first shot. But they've been able to get offensive rebounds, but the ball hasn't gone inside enough. If they hit the offensive glass, they win. If they don't hit the offensive glass, Wichita State is too skilled right now in all the other positions to lose this game.
Talk to me, GA.
Well, the hardest thing to guard in basketball is versatility. And what Wichita State has the advantage right now is with Cleanthony Early, their frontline player. Look at the space he can create, because Kelly Olynyk, even though he has perimeter skills, still not comfortable defending on the perimeter. And when you can create space because of your versatility, it's hard to make the adjustment defensively. That's something they're going to also have to up the ante on defensively.
And they bring Jake White in the game, same thing. He creates a space. He's a guy who's a power forward who likes to shoot threes. So both Harris and Olynyk are caught away from the basket on that end of the floor. So that's what I'm saying. There's no answer for that. But I think if you're Gonzaga, you shoot 32% and you're only down 5 points, you got to feel good. I still think they'll come back and win this game.
36-31 is the halftime score.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NCAA for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any picture, description, or accounts of the game without the NCAA's consent is prohibited.
Take a look at the first half stats presented by Coke Zero. Wichita State up as many as 13 points, up 5, 20 minutes away from a potential run to the Sweet 16.
And Wichita playing a little bit above their level, shooting the basketball, feeling like they believe and belong. Look at those numbers for 3. That's really helped the Shockers sustain the lead despite foul trouble.
Gonzaga has not lost in 9 weeks. Down 5, a Sweet 16 berth hanging in the balance. Second half is next. Wichita State by 5 as we get set for the second half here in Salt Lake City. Minutes ago, Jamie Maggio with Mark Few.
All right, thank you, Coach. Only a 5-point game here, but that was your lowest shooting half all season long, 32%. How are they doing it, and what adjustments do you need to make?
Well, they're being very aggressive. They're up after us, denying a lot of things. We also missed, I think, 3 or 4 lay-ins and some bunnies that we normally make. Our big guys and missed a couple free throws. If we make those, we're up by a couple baskets, I think.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
You got it.
All right, as you heard Jamie say, worst shooting half by Gonzaga in a game this season. Spiro Ditas and Doug Gottlieb with you. Clearly the physical play from Wichita State, Doug, has had its desired impact.
You want to win national title, you got to win one in the meat grinder. And that's really what Wichita State has forced Gonzaga into. Very physical because they're undersized at times in the low post. There's been slapping, there's been grabbing, there's been digging in the low post. There's been elbows thrown, a terrible flagrant one from Wichita State. Moving screens called. This will be a tightly officiated first 5 minutes of the second half. Teams need to adjust. Also need to match the physicality of their opposition.
Never an easy path to a college basketball championship. Even for a 1 seed, Southern pushed here by Southern on Thursday, won by only 6. And right now their hands full with Wichita State. Looks like Cleanthony Early may have turned an ankle. Also Baker goes down hard.
And they lost a bucket. They had a putback. Takale Cotton got a layup, but because the foul was called.
You see Cleanthony Early started the game off the bench on the floor to start the second half.
Remember, he got his second personal foul on what I thought was a block call, charge call. And they lost momentum directly after that because of a 7-point swing by Gonzaga.
If you've just joined us, Wichita State up as many as 13 points in the first half. Taking on this Gonzaga team, one in the West. Gonzaga's team that has won 15 straight, longest active winning streak in the country. Early, partially deflected, forced shot, saved in, taken by Olynyk. Here's Pangos, the sophomore star. Baker trying to knock it loose. Olynyk to the middle. The tip by Harris, no. Harris powers up, swatted. Early got him. Armstead. And the call here, it's against Early and Wichita State. A reminder to keep an eye on the top of your picture right now over on CBS. They come down the stretch, 6 and change left. Marquette up 2 over Butler. As Early has to sit his 3rd personal.
And Greg Marshall said, hey, just because I ran a play for you doesn't mean you have to shoot the ball. And then he comes back, makes a good play defensively, and a silly foul in transition. I thought Greg Marshall put him on ice. You can cool your own player, kill his own momentum, if you will, by taking him out with 2 personal fouls. Runs a play for him to get him going in the second half. But you don't have to shoot it just because we're going to play for you.
Olynyk. Stumbling and a traveling violation.
He's struggling a little bit with being indecisive. If you ask scouts, NBA scouts, other college assistants, or even the Gonzaga staff, what's impressive about Kelly Olynyk is his patience in around the high, mid, and low post. But he's been a little bit indecisive, and part of it was he was pivoting with the wrong foot and never seemed really sure of what he wanted to do.
You see the turnover numbers. Gonzaga careless with it against Southern Thursday. Body tied up. Baker changed his mind. That's the decision Baker wants back. Arupe, not a noted offensive player. Here comes Pangos. And a foul charge to Cotton.
Actually, what happened was because Kelly Olynyk thought it was a shot, he was in the process of boxing out. Watch, everybody thinks it's a shot. Kelly Olynyk's boxing out, and that's why Arupe can't catch the ball.
Mark Hughes going to go into his bench here. Kyle Dranginis, the redshirt freshman Idaho native, who we did not see in the first half, will come in. Wait and check in at the table. I mentioned the tough road as Pangos misses the first. #1 teams in the final AP poll over the last 5 years. Here is how they fared, dug in the tournament. Of course, Kentucky will run all the way through, getting the hardware last year.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Gonzaga, their first trip to the dance as a #1 seed, first trip as a #1 team in the AP poll. Whenever you think about rankings, generally that don't mean anything in the college landscape. The fact is that they are #1, and so they go from normally a hunter to the hunted.
Mark Few told us yesterday this is the best Gonzaga team that he has had. Armstead off of his foot as they crowd the senior guard, and he coughs it up. 9 Wichita turnovers.
It's a smart play by Kevin Pangos as Kelly Olynyk kind of seals off Malcolm Armstead, who wants to get to that strong left hand. Kevin Pangos making winning plays.
Harris thought about it. Still plenty of time to shoot. 15 seconds. Pangos a long 2. Olynyk swallowed up by Hall, but a foul. And again, very surprising in how vulnerable the Shockers have been on their own defensive glass. Well, 3rd against Carl Hall.
Tremendous rebounding team. Look, Kelly Olynyk, he gets inside position. He essentially boxed out, but come on now. I think what happens sometimes when you assume. You know what happens when you assume? That's what happened with John Higgins. He assumed that was a foul.
They'll be the first to know the latest news on all your teams with Bleacher Report's Team Stream app. Stay one step ahead. Check our Team Stream on your iPhone, iPad, or Android device right now. So a huge call against Greg Marshall and the Shockers. 3rd against Hall. A star front court player. As both teams go to their benches. Well, how about this number? Looks like the arena crew here, looks like there's some blood on the floor. They have to get that cleaned up. 13 of Gonzaga's 25 rebounds, Doug, have been on the offensive glass.
Well, a tremendous job by Kelly Olynyk. He gets inside position and just seals off Carl Hall. There is no foul. I'm sorry.
Olynyk will have one more free throw. But we touched on it earlier. You know, it's been 9 weeks since Gonzaga has lost the game. They're thriller against Butler. 63 days, and they haven't really been challenged. So this is kind of a different
They were challenged.
moment that they are in.
San Diego, a 2-point game, and just down the road at BYU, senior night, Brandon Davies, tremendous ball game. So those are the only 2 times they're really challenged late. But you're right, for the most part, it's been a dominant season. But the Butler game was a little bit like this one.
Gonzaga all season long in 34 games trailed at halftime only twice. 32-2. First time ever over 30 wins in their program history. And now these Zags fans out of their seats within 2. Reaching foul against Hart. Couple of defensive studs there to Cale Cotton for Wichita State. Mike Hart, a senior, former walk-on. Second on Hart.
Wichita State needs a bucket in a bad way. A clean look, a drive to the basket, work to get a good shot.
Their leading scorer, Cleanthony Early, still on the bench after he was pulled by Marshall early in the half. Armstead calling for a screen, finally gets it. Oh, such confidence from Armstead. 6 points. Gives the Shockers some breathing room by 4. Armstead, who walked onto the program last year, redshirted, paid his own way after transferring from Oregon. Incredible story. Olynyk is fouled on the pass with just under 17 minutes remaining.
He loves to get to the strong left hand, Malcolm Armstead, 23 years old, and comes back, little floater game. That is his game. That is his office. Evan Pangos up a ball screen. He's trouble, boy.
Pangos just 2 of 8 shooting. Here's Harris, 9 points on the night. Able to draw contact again. He's been much more aggressive in this game compared to Thursday night, looking for his own scoring. And more free throws for Gonzaga.
I tell you, tightly officiated. Ron Baker gets caught handing the cookie jar. Zags going to live at the free throw line.
That is the 5th foul against Wichita State, and we have barely played 3 minutes.
Well, officials, what they do is they huddle up in the locker room after the half and they discuss things. It was a very physical first half. And so you have to know that that first 4-minute stanza, they're going to make a point. We're calling the little stuff, cleaning up at the end of the game. What a play.
Hart takes it back, and somehow Olynyk couldn't put it down.
He's struggled at the rim in both games.
Armstead crossing over Hart. Battle for the rebound taken by Gonzaga. This is Dranginis in for the first time. And Pangos resets 20 to shoot.
Confident by Mark Few to play Dranginis and didn't play the other night.
Harris.
What a box out. There are coaches watching, high school coaches, college coaches, that just said, wow, Ron Baker, what a box out.
Baker. Olynyk barreling to the rim. How about that versatility? Olynyk lost the sneaker on the play as Gonzaga draws to within 1.
Malcolm Armstead, go. He only has 1 shoe. Go right at him.
I don't think they realize it.
No, they realize that they don't have to stop until the Zags get the ball.
Here comes Cotton. Into the corner. White attacking offensive foul.
Kelly Olynyk, 7 feet, avoiding the charge, flipping it up, and in. Zags down 1.
All right, Craig, our tournament summary as we welcome you back to Salt Lake City. How about the performance by Michigan earlier today? Their first Sweet 16 appearance since 1994. Arizona and Oregon through as well.
Arizona incredibly impressive, and I think the committee embarrassed themselves, and Oregon stepped up and showed them why. The Ducks were incredibly underseeded, took care of my alma mater handily, and then thumped St. Louis. Pac-12 saying, Rodney Dangerfield, we got no respect.
Well, there have been some major surprises already, just a couple of days in the tournament. Already a 2 seed going down. Georgetown beaten by Florida Gulf Coast yesterday. Handily going down. And now once again, the 1 seed in the West, Gonzaga, on the ropes. Although they have cut it down to 1. Pangos had it poked away, gets it back. Suffocating defense. Van Fleet, contact, and he's headed to the free throw line.
I think Kevin Pangos got fouled, but the reason it wasn't called was because Ron Baker pulled his hands away, and so the officials didn't think there was any contact. Boy, the Shockers, so physical, so aggressive. And how about the move from Greg Marshall? Out of a timeout, Gary Bell hurts his ankle, so he doesn't have his normal 2-guard, and they go to a 3/4 court trap and trap him right in the corner.
Gary Bell hurting the ankle, as Doug just alluded to. They have retaped it, his return in question at this point. Again, a reminder over on CBS, under a minute to play. 3-6 matchup, Butler and Marquette tied at 69.
A 1-1-3 matchup zone from Wichita State. Teams rarely zone the Zags because of the respect for their passing and their shooting.
Dwayne Guinness, a little used forward. Certainly of late, getting some very important minutes here.
Kelly Olynyk outstanding in the mid and high post against the zone.
Pangos, back to 3. 10 points for Pangos. Wichita State's lead down to 1. Early. Greg Marshall looking very displeased on the sideline. Olynyk. Well played by Arube. First lead since the 11-17 mark of the first half. Timeout, Wichita State.
Mike Hart never shoots, but his teammates say you should see him on the gun at practice. He never misses. Kevin Pangos to Mike Hart, the former walk-on, putting the Zags up 2.
So Vander Blue, the hero from Thursday night, doing it again.
And remember, that's a rematch of a game played in Maui, which Rodney Clark hit a 40-footer to win it. So something about the non-conference part of the slate told us that those two teams were almost evenly matched. Sure enough, at the end of the season, evenly matched again. What a battle.
Clay Anthony Early back in for the Shockers. Wichita State, if you've just joined us, up as many as 13 points. Right now down 2. Gonzaga slowly taking the momentum back as we come up on 13 minutes left. Shot clock at 5. Errant pass. Williams off the hands of Early. And another Wichita State turnover, their 11th.
And Greg Marshall keeps subbing guys in and out. And I think some of his guys have lost rhythm because of it. Whereas Gonzaga has gotten 2 good looks in a row. Pangos in the corner after running offense. And Mike Hart, how about Mike Hart? 34 shots the entire year. 23s the entire year. He's got 2 huge ones for the Zags.
Everyone on this team calls Hart the heart and soul of the team. Career-high 12 rebounds in the game. Here's Pangos, pick and roll. Olynyk. 4-point Zags lead. Again, over on CBS, 13 seconds left. Marquette, 2-point lead over Butler. Here in Salt Lake City, you see the run by Gonzaga, 8 straight points. And who steps up for leadership here for Wichita State? Clearly in need of offense.
I think you go inside to Carl Hall. Now, Kelly Olynyk is so big, he can play behind him. Carl Hall still finds ways to get buckets.
Arm stick. And it belongs to Gonzaga. Well, the passing of Gonzaga, something that makes this team so deadly.
Kelly Olynyk passing the ball, ping, ping, passing. Open man gets it, and this is a clinic in ball screen basketball. Open to Mike Clark. Open man gets it, and he gets it on time and in rhythm. That's coaching.
A critical call that puts Wichita State now with its 7th team foul. So 1-1 now for Gonzaga, with still plenty of time remaining. 12:24 left.
There's a lot of time remaining, but you know, if you're Wichita State, you're falling out of the game. You got to get your best lineup on the floor.
Up from executive producer Donnie Wahlberg, an unfiltered look into the lives of Boston's finest. New Wednesday, 9/8 Central, right here on TNT.
How about Canada's finest? Kelly Olynyk and Kevin Pangos.
And Mark Few's assistant Tommy Lloyd has become their international guru, bringing all these youngsters into the program. Side by side with Few, trying to get Gonzaga into the Sweet 16 for the 5th time since Few took over. 10 straight points for the Bulldogs. And how about the free throw disparity? Just 3 attempts for Wichita State. Olynyk got his hands on it. Still 16 to shoot. All against Harris. Had his pocket picked by Pangos. To the rim. And a goaltend.
Wichita State's coming apart at the seams. And it's because Kevin Pangos making plays, forcing the Shockers into bad positions.
Salt Lake City, the site with a trip to the Sweet 16 hanging in the balance. Gonzaga, #1 in the West. Trying to dispatch of Wichita State, coached by Greg Marshall. 9th seed in the region. Fresh off their lopsided win over Pitt here Thursday. Wichita State, if you've just joined us, up by as many as 13 points, but just 5 points for the Shockers so far here in the second half. A final on CBS, Marquette over Butler to send the Golden Eagles to the Sweet 16. Baker with an enormous 3. 8 points for the redshirt freshman. Playing in front of his family here in Salt Lake City. To shoot. Olynyk, what a find. Harris swallowed up by Anthony. Baker. Offensive rebound. Hawley's blocked and fouled. So out of the timeout, Wichita State. With some much-needed offense, they'll shoot 2.
Now, this is called horns. Double high ball screen. And as the roll comes, that creates just a little bit of help. And because the help comes, you don't have to help. You got weak side help. Ron Baker, a state champion in Kansas 2 years ago. His parents paid his own way so that he could attend Wichita State.
And Greg Marshall just couldn't say enough positive things about both of those two young men. Armstead and Baker both paying their way through to walk on. Now, of course, both scholarship players. And here they are now trying to get this Wichita State team to the Sweet 16. David Stockton back in, handles the point here for Mark Few. Also, Drew Barnes has come in, the junior from Memphis.
You got to identify the non-shooters. Stockton is a reluctant shooter.
Baker the steal. 12th Gonzaga turnover. Dangerous pass by Armstead, deflected by Harris and taken by Stockton. We approach the midway mark of the second half. Gonzaga holding in a 4-point lead. Pango's down Broadway. Olynyk gets it back and sticks it back. .23 points for Olynyk. Early monster three. 11 points for Cleanthony early. They leave Barham open, and he gets the three back. Six-point Gonzaga lead. Carl Hall absorbing contact, lost the goggles, and draws contact. We're in Salt Lake City. Spiro Ditas, Doug Gottlieb, Jamie Maggio, our entire crew. Gonzaga, the 1 seed in the West, down by as many as 13 points to the 9th-seeded Shockers from Wichita State. Most confident team coached by Greg Marshall. They have pushed Mark Few's team right to the limit here. There's now the training staff for Wichita State tending to a cut on the bridge of Hall's nose.
How about Drew Barham? Well, Mark Few told us we want to play him because people help off of Mike Hart. Hart's hit 2 threes. Barham, the Memphis transfer, just jumps up and knocks down a 3. And then goes 3 goggles. We're completely unafraid. If you want to win a national championship, you got to win 6 games. And there are going to be times in which one of your best players, a couple of your best players, aren't playing well. And I think Olynyk's playing fantastic in the second half. They've had unlikely guys step up.
And we told you about Hall's story the other night. A young man diagnosed in 2007 with a heart condition that causes him to have these very scary fainting spells. Doctors told him he would never play basketball again. He didn't play for 2 years. And then medication that he was on started to improve his condition. Eventually worked his way back. Came back as a JUCO player. And then Greg Marshall picked up the phone. They brought him in. And now their star front court player with free throw there to cut it to 5. 9:16 remaining.
Yeah, he quit his JUCO, and his JUCO coach heard he was playing in the church league, called him up and said, "We need you to come back out for the team."
Amazing. They bottle up Stockton. And Mark Few calling a timeout, yelling for the attention of the officials here in Salt Lake City. Gonzaga by 5 with a Sweet 16 berth on the line. We'll get full coverage of the 2013 Division I Women's Basketball Tournament at ncaa.com/Women's Final Four. March Madness has taken full effect. You've already seen some of the upsets around the country. Gonzaga on the ropes early on, down by as many as 13 points. Can they hold off this Wichita State team that has played with such confidence? Stockton inside to Dowler.
Short on that one.
And then if you've just joined us, Gary Bell, the star defensive player for Gonzaga, turning an ankle earlier, has yet to return. There's a whistle blown inside, a jump and possession favoring Gonzaga.
Tremendous play by Barham. The anticipation skills, and you don't want him coming off Baker, but if you're going to guess, you better be right. You get a free possession.
Olynyk across the floor for Barham. To the rim, swatted by Arupe. Early over Olynyk, and a foul against Dower here. Again, Ahime Arupe not going to bowl anyone over with his offensive production, but this is what they have him for. Second in the Missouri Valley Conference in blocks.
It translates roughly into, get that out of here.
1-on-1 situation. Each side with 17 fouls. 8:16 to play. Arupe, just a 40% free throw shooter. Has only taken 35 all season. And Wichita State, Doug, has barely gotten to the line tonight. Greg Marshall makes a change. Demetric Williams comes in. Baker sits. Harris clears.
2 empty possessions for Wichita State. First a turnover on a jump ball when Arupe gets tied up, and then a missed front end of a 1-on-1.
Stockton around the screen from Olynyk. Olynyk fouled by Williams. 1-and-1 when we come back. Mark Few and Gonzaga 7:55 away from a Sweet 16 trip. All right, Greg, so Buzz Williams' team, that close call Thursday, they are through. And they now await the winner of Illinois and Miami Thursday night in Washington.
Of course, Illinois went into the kennel and got one of the road wins of the year. Illinois who beat Butler, beat Indiana at home, and beat the Zags. Brandon Paul was phenomenal way back when for the Illini.
1-and-1 for Kelly Olynyk. Doug, how does Wichita State take the momentum back?
They got to stop fouling. That's the first thing. Every reach is being called. You're in the double bonus. Gonzaga's living at the line. Secondly, you got to get Malcolm Armstead going off some of these ball screens.
This is early, their leading scorer. To the rim, extending, going glass.
Cle Anthony Early has an offensive mentality. He's going to score, try and score every time he gets it, and he likes having Kelly Olynyk out on the floor.
Early, another New York product. In his junior season out of Middletown, New York, has 13 points.
I guarantee he shoots next time he gets it.
Again, Gonzaga's so patient, they go to Harris inside. What a defensive play by Hall. Shot clock did not reset. Pangos.
Mike Hart, wow.
Mike Hart, a career high off the glass tonight. 13th rebound.
When Mark Few calls a guy irreplaceable, who averages 1.9 points a game, that's why he understands what winning basketball is about.
You just saw that graphic. That could be the story of the game. The difference, 17 offensive rebounds by Gonzaga. Oh, they leave Pangos for the three. He has done it all season long. We come up on 6 minutes left. Cotton gets the three back for the Shockers. This team is all attitude, all heart. The at-large bid out of the Missouri Valley Conference, 27 wins.
Number 4 in white. Don't leave that guy in his zone.
Shot clock at 10. Harris, great position. 5 to shoot. Pangos again.
That was all Elias Harris's unselfishness and Kelly Olynyk setting a screen.
Mark Few told us yesterday Kevin Pangos was born for the big moment. Early for the three. Oh! Answers for Wichita State. Are you kidding? 16 for Anthony. Gonzaga's lead down to 4 with under 5 minutes left.
We got to get out of the zone. Start guarding Pangos. Kevin Pangos is going to end up with the ball off a ball screen.
Armstead defending him off the ball, 5 to shoot.
What a screen by
Olynyk. A lot of contact, no call.
That was a foul.
Early nearly left his feet to Baker, and he sticks the three. Ron Baker, the redshirt freshman, and Wichita State within 1. Our game summary, 4:14 to play. A trip to the Sweet 16 hanging in the balance. Gonzaga's lead down to 1. Wichita State has hit its last 3 shots, all from long distance.
It's 2 sweetest sounds you'll hear in the world. Your kids saying daddy when you walk in the door, and string music in the NCAA tournament. Whap, whap, whap. Unbelievable shooting from both sides.
There is Baker, a Scott City, Kansas native. Discovered by Greg Marshall's assistants on a recruiting trip about 4-hour drive from Wichita. Biggest shot in that young man's brief collegiate career to cut it to 1. Here's Pangos. They trap him on the perimeter. Shot clock at 5. Olynyk, bottled up by Early. It's tipped, and Armstead has it. Wichita State can retake the lead right here. Hall, Shockers back in front. Here is Harris. What a move to get to the rack. Harris to the line, but it's an 11-3 run for Wichita State.
Carl Hall's got a heart problem, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have heart. Shockers retake the lead.
Ohio State and Iowa State, but what a ball game here. An instant classic as Gonzaga and Wichita State battle into the night.
Whap, 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 whap. You name it, they've made big plays. 3 after 3 after 3. Wichita State, like a bad cold, it won't go away. And how about the officials? Calling everything for the first 5 to 7 minutes. Now, somebody's going to have to perform a Heimlich maneuver. They've swallowed them. And the players have responded in kind by making big play after big play.
If you've just joined us, Wichita State led by 13 points in the first half. We're up 5 at halftime before Gonzaga took over early in the second half. Bulldogs led by as many as 8. But Wichita State on an 11-3 run before that free throw, as they have hit 5 straight shots, and we are all tied with 3:17 left. Elias Harris, the German national, steps up, hits 2. You see the Gonzaga fans behind the Bulldogs bench imploring their team to cross the finish line. Contact on the perimeter, charged to Mike Hart. Both teams are over that 7-foul limit, so this will be a 1-and-1 for Baker. Baker, a 69% free throw shooter, rarely gets to the line. has only taken 16 free throws all season long.
Well, he missed 21 games with injury, and his parents traveled to every home game, driving 4.5, 5 hours in a purple van.
There they are. That van parked outside the building here.
I said, purple van, did you grow up a K-State fan? He's like, nah, KU fan. K-State didn't recruit me. State champion, his dad's a strength coach at Dodge City High School.
Told us yesterday his town has his 2 stoplights, population 2,800. And he is making them proud tonight. A violation against Gonzaga. Monumental mistake with 3:10 left.
Last year, St. Mary's at the end of the Purdue game in the second round, a lane violation, and David Stockton, where his dad's a legend, his dad, his numbers hanging up in the rafters, that wasn't his fault.
Officials are conferencing here. It's a tough moment for a father looking on here. David Stockton, living here in Salt Lake City with his dad until the age of 10 when Stockton retired, moving the family back to Spokane. The officials now will go to the replay monitor. Cleanthony Early, we're told, went into the game prematurely here, so they try to sort through this confusion.
What happened is, because it was a violation, no time went off the clock, so Early can't enter the basketball game.
It will be Wichita State basketball. Early will be permitted into the game. 3:09 to play. Wichita State clinging to a 1-point lead.
One of the things Gonzaga does best, they always put a big man on out-of-bounds plays. It's really hard to run an underneath out-of-bounds play.
Gonzaga, the #1 seed in the West. #1 in the final AP poll, on the ropes here in Salt Lake City. Baker, got it again! Ron Baker introducing himself to the nation here. Here comes Olenek, sidestepping the defender. Offensive rebound, Harris. Payne goes for the 3. Offensive rebounding tonight, one of the major storylines for Gonzaga. Stockton. Olenek. Wide open look. 2-point game.
Wichita State has to send 5 to rebound. They got to put a body on. They are getting crushed on the offensive boards. 19 offensive rebounds.
Wichita State at this end has hit 6 straight from downtown.
Baker's hit his last 2. Armstead likes to go left and shoot floaters when he can. The shot clock's going down.
4 to shoot. Van Fleet, a freshman. Long 3. And he buries it. Olenek can't save it. And Gonzaga in trouble. Down 5 with 73 seconds left.
You cannot stop playing if you're Wichita State.
Fred Van Fleet, who had hit only 13 threes all season, makes it a 5-point game. Wichita State a minute away from the Sweet 16. Armstead to Hall. Officials say jump possession arrow favoring Wichita State.
I believe the shot clock should have reset as Hall missed the layup, but it did hit the bottom side of the backboard.
And now the officials will go to the replay monitor. Brian Dorsey signaling
This is just a shot clock operator error. That ball hits the rim. It should reset. It will be Wichita State ball underneath with a fresh 35.
I have to think they'll get this sorted through quickly.
Look at the effort of Mike Hart and Cleanthony Early. I mean, for Hart to even tie it up, that's a pretty easy call.
The Gonzaga Bulldogs, 15 straight wins, have not lost in 9 weeks.
Now remember, Gonzaga started a trend in college basketball. Regardless of who's taking it out, they like a big guy with length on the ball, underneath, out of bounds. It's very difficult. Last time Wichita State took it in, they had to throw it all the way to the backcourt. That's dangerous when Gonzaga knows what's coming. If you're Greg Marshall right now, you need to tell your players unequivocally, here's what we're running. Go get the ball. Here's how many timeouts we have. We have 3. If you're in trouble, quick timeout.
Our officiating crew tonight, John Higgins, Brian Dorsey, and John Gaffney.
Let me say this. I disagree with several of the close calls late in the first half and the second half. But late in this game, as good officials are prone to do, they've let the players decide the game, and ones that are close, they haven't called a thing.
Doug, it clearly touched the rim. What are they still discussing at this point?
They're trying to discuss the difference in the time. Remember, it touches the rim.
Right.
Okay? It's obvious a jump ball, and Wichita State had the jump ball.
Well, certainly the biggest call of this game. They'll go back to the replay monitor trying to get it right.
Watch Cleanthony Early's foot when he just narrowly looks like he avoids being out of bounds.
Boy, how about Carl Hall? I know he was off balance a little bit, but that's a layup that could have given Wichita State a 7-point lead.
And now you want your best free throw shooters to demand the basketball. Demand the basketball. You cannot be denied getting the ball in bounds. And if you're Greg Marshall, instead of deciding if it's your ball, just assume it's your ball.
Officials were told now trying to determine when the whistle was actually blown. There you see the signal for the jump.
Amazing. Gonzaga had complete control and were playing well. And Wichita State just would not go away.
Gonzaga had an 8-point lead earlier in the second half. Wichita State, a long offensive drought. But so they made their run and now lead by 5.
So if Early had the ball, it should be 44-2, I believe.
And that is what they have set it at. So 44.2 to play. Eight team fouls against Gonzaga, Wichita State with 9. And these Zags fans right now sitting on their hands. And finally make the announcement after a lengthy delay. Wichita State trying to get through to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2006. Doug, you foul immediately, right?
Wow, dangerous pass. Absolutely.
They haven't fouled yet. They get to Van Fleet. A 65% free throw shooter, but the freshman clearly didn't show nerves a moment ago. The biggest shot of his young career, that long 3. And right now can give the Shockers a 7-point lead. This will be a 1-and-1 with 38.6 remaining. What an unbelievable tournament this has been. Just a couple of days in, we saw a 2 seed go down yesterday, Georgetown. And now Gonzaga in serious trouble.
With Malcolm Armstead, you have to demand to your team that they pick up, that you wall off, that you make Gonzaga take a contested shot, and then everybody rebounds and hold on to the ball.
7-point game.
I would not let Kevin Pangos touch the ball. Just don't let him get it.
Here comes Stockton. Gets a high screen, goes right to the rim. Very little time elapsing. 33.5 to play. Wichita State can taste it. Timeout. Game reset, 33.5 to play. Double bonus for both teams. Doug, what about strategy out of the timeout?
All right, for Wichita State, you can demand the ball wherever you want. You can run the baseline. Hey, you have to know how many timeouts you have. You go to your best inbounds play, and you want Van Fleet, who just made 2, or Malcolm Armstead to touch the basketball. But when you go get it, and you grab it. You don't do what Davidson did and play like hot potato. Go get the basketball.
Quick whistle that gets a Hall. Hall, a 69% free throw shooter, and it is a 2-shot situation for the senior. What an emotional year it's been for him, missing 7 games, going down with a thumb injury.
He came back after 7 games of breaking his thumb. I mean, you want to be toughness?
2 for 4 tonight, 32.5 remaining. And these are the moments at the free throw line where those season numbers are meaningless. It's the kind of pressure that few players experience. Two huge misses. The door still open for Gonzaga. Olynyk. 20 seconds. Pangos. Barham had it. And a pushing foul. 16.1. 2 free throws for Drew Barham. And Gonzaga can inch closer to within 3.
Offensive rebounds have been the story, and Cotton just going a little too hard.
So here's Drew Barham, the junior, Memphis native. First season with Gonzaga, sat out last year. Misses the first. Barham just 14 free throws on the season before that attempt.
Remember, Gary Bell hasn't played much in the second half. Sprained his ankle early, hasn't returned. Barham hit a big 3 and has been part of this offensive rebounding juggernaut for the Zags.
Drew Barham comes up empty, and Wichita State 15 seconds away from a monster upset.
And Malcolm Armstead has a chance to come close to sealing the deal. He paid his own way in transferring from Oregon to Wichita State. They didn't have a scholarship, so he worked at a car dealership. He delivered cars, he moved cars. Some were nice, some were nasty, some didn't have air conditioning. 23 years old, the Alabama native.
6-point game. There is Greg Marshall. Didn't know what to expect from this team. Losing 4 starters from a year ago. Talked about it being a transitional year for the program. Suffice it to say, they have overachieved. Seconds away from the Sweet 16. Pangos. Contact. Well, the last thing that the Shockers want here is to put them at the free throw line. Chance to cut into the deficit with the clock stopped. It's on Baker.
Kevin Pangos told us about all the great ball players coming out of the GTA, the greater Toronto area.
Yeah, he threw that GTA reference on you. I mean, you were stunned. You just ate it up.
Well, I mean, you think about Toronto basketball, and he has been so clutch.
Well, Pangos and company just can't hit these free throws. Barham coming up empty a moment ago. Gonzaga, again, has not lost in 9 weeks, 63 days since that defeat at Hinkle Fieldhouse against Butler. 15 straight wins in what has been the most successful year in terms of victories in history. Drank Guinness comes in, a redshirt freshman.
Go get the ball. Baker, Armstead, go get the ball.
Van Fleet fouled by Hart. 11.2 to play as the Zags trying to extend this as far as they can.
You talked about the guts, the moxie of Wichita State. There's a lot of Valley pride on the line. I know Creighton's won their game, but Creighton's leaving the league. But Southern Illinois looks like it's on its way back. Northern Iowa, always competitive.
Greg Marshall told us about how Wichita State is trying to emulate what this Gonzaga program has been over the years. Free throw by Van Fleet makes it a 3-possession game. Said that Gonzaga is the gold standard.
Yep.
And a chance here to knock him off.
Incredibly respectful comments about what Mark Few has done. They wanted to compete, but they wanted to compete with the best. They feel like Gonzaga's the best.
What a night for this youngster, Fred Van Fleet, the freshman. It's an 8-point game. Here comes Stockton to the rim. 6.3. Mark Few will call for time. 6-point game, 6.3 remaining. And for people turning on their TVs and checking in for the first time, a huge upset is nearly complete.
And you want to talk about 3 games in one. Wichita State dominating early, up 13. A 7-point swing on 1 possession for Gonzaga late in the first half. And though Wichita State had a 36-31 lead, it was on a last-second tip-in, you still felt like they were barely in the lead. Gonzaga takes an 8-point lead in the second half. Wichita State's in foul trouble, in disarray. And then they go on a 3-point shooting barrage, get just enough stops despite 17 offensive rebounds from Gonzaga. And they are 6.3 seconds away from literally shocking the country.
Oh, and this one is over. Cal Syracuse right now, early second half. 11-point lead for the Orange. 6.3 to play. The inbounds to Van Fleet. It's stolen. Pangos on a 3. And that will do it. Wichita State knocks off the #1 team in the country. And the Shockers dancing to the Sweet 16.
Wow, you close the game on a 16-7 run. You stare #1 down, and you beat them with 3-point shots, with a couple of defensive stops, with grit and determination. What a win for the Shockers.
On the one side, euphoria.
I'll tell you what, Ron Baker, a state champion, and he played like it. State champion in the state of Kansas his senior year. Carl Hall, the 23-year-old senior who quit basketball because of a heart condition. And Greg Marshall, who was offered several high major coaching jobs, turned it down and has found a home in Wichita, Kansas.
Marshall, those great tournament runs while at Winthrop, and now has taken Wichita State to the Sweet 16. Stunned disbelief on the Gonzaga side. Their season ends in the round of 32.
And collectively, America tearing up their brackets.
Jamie Maggio in the center of that party as we go to her now.
All right, thank you, Spiro. Coach, you told your team on Thursday, play angry, play physical. They did that from start to finish tonight. How impressed are you with Wichita State basketball?
They never quit. You know, we got the big lead. Gonzaga makes a great run as the #1 team in the country would. And then these guys get down. We can't keep them off the foul line, but they never stop. I think we got down as much as 8. You know what I asked them on October 15th? Down 8 with 8 minutes to go. Would you take it for the right to go to LA in the Sweet 16? And they did it from there. How about those big shots Ron Baker made? All the free throws. I don't think we missed other than Carl Hall once or twice, but we've executed to get the ball in. It's a wonderful moment for our program and our city.
Tremendous effort for your team tonight, Coach. But like you said, guys stepping up with big shots, clutch shots, and different guys stepping up. How important will that be as you advance to the Sweet 16?
This is the epitome of a team. They don't care about individual stats. It's all about us winning. They've done that for years now, and the last couple of months, it's been truly special. You don't know all the adversity that this group has gone through. It's been unbelievable. So happy.
Who are these people?
This is my family. This is Maggie, and this is my son, Carl. Hey, we're going to celebrate tonight in Salt Lake, and we cannot wait to get to LA.
Well, you deserve to celebrate, and good luck the rest of the way, Coach.
Thank you, thank you.
Incredible pictures and an unbelievable moment of emotion for Greg Marshall. The Wichita State Shockers have knocked off the #1 seed in the West. Gonzaga going down here in Salt Lake City, and the Shockers are headed for the City of Angels. Jamie Maggio standing by with one of the heroes for Wichita State.
Spiro, thank you. Ron, how's it feel to knock off the #1 seed?
The dream come true, really. I'm just glad we came together down the stretch and pulled the upset off.
Explain to me this. Gonzaga goes on a 12-0 run there in the second half. They look to take all the momentum away. How did you guys keep fighting?
The coaches and the team just decided to pull together, and we did. And this feeling's unimaginable right now.
Well, the Shockers shocked a lot of people tonight. What makes this team dangerous moving forward?
We play together, and we stick to our goals, and we're good teammates.
You gotta look more excited, Ron. This is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm a humble kid.
Hey, enjoy it, okay? Congratulations.
What a moment for Ron Baker, the redshirt freshman. 16 points, 4 monumental threes, and Wichita State has shocked the Bulldogs.
Well, a shout out to two-stoplight Scott City. Scott City in the house. Wichita and Greg Marshall has the Shockers headed home, then to Hollywood.
Well, they don't call it March Madness for nothing. What a tournament it has been, as the celebration has begun here in Salt Lake City.
And Gonzaga didn't play poorly. They just got beat. Sometimes you get outplayed. Wichita State outplayed them. Gonzaga had an incredible season, but they got beat by a better team on this floor tonight.
It has been a college basketball season of arguably more parity than we have ever seen. And maybe this makes perfect sense. Yesterday, a 2 seed going down. Georgetown stunned by Florida Gulf Coast. And this just the latest stunner.
Well, the Valley thought they were back. 2006, 2 teams in the Sweet 16, one of them Wichita State. They've had a team taken away in future years. Creighton's still playing this thing. At Wichita State, they just had that look in their eyes. We sat with them yesterday, and there was no fear of the moment. And whether it was the senior Malcolm Armstead or the freshman Fred Van Fleet with the shot clock running down, hitting a huge 3. What an incredible comeback.
The Gonzaga Bulldogs going down for the first time in 9 weeks. And the moment belongs to Ron Baker, Carl Hall, and the Wichita State Shockers. They are headed to Los Angeles and the Sweet 16.